Hi, welcome to the Career Corner. My name is Heather Swift and I'm delighted to be your host. My guest today is Laurie Zlotnick. She is a technology sales professional and the founder of FierceFemales. Laurie, welcome to the Career Corner.
Thank you, Heather.
It's
so
about
nice to be
time.
Here.
I'm
Yes.
so glad. So
Yeah,
you've been very
I appreciate
busy
it.
these past couple years.
It's been busy. Yeah, it's been great.
So give us first a definition of what is FierceFemales.
So I started FierceFemales 3 years ago out of a need. I work in a male-dominated industry.
Wait, those exist?
Yeah, right. I'm not unusual in that regard. At the time, I was working for a company where there weren't many female managers. I was one of the only. And I felt a real need to get some female perspectives on workplace issues. I was managing men and reporting to men, and I just wanted an alternate point of view. And I couldn't look within my own workplace to find it, so I just started FierceFemales as a Facebook group with about 20 of my friends.
I was one
locally.
of them.
Heather was one of them. And kind of expressed why I was starting this and asked people to just invite whomever. And 3 years later, I'm proud to say we have 1,400 members in the group. It's a very active group. We've put on about 12 different events, and we've contributed over $3,000 to local charities.
That's amazing.
It is.
You
It's
should be
amazing
very
what women
proud
can
of
do
it.
when
Yes.
they work together. Yeah.
It is.
So we now have the mission of women empowering women. That's what we do.
And what does that mean to you?
To me, it just means working together to help one another achieve whatever aspirations or goals that we want to, whether that's in the home, out of the home, as a corporate professional, as an entrepreneur, as somebody working in the nonprofit industry, maybe you have political aspirations, whatever it is that you are trying to achieve within your own world, work with women who are here to support and love you. We've seen time and again, and my group is a perfect example of this, of how when women work together, when one of them rises up, they bring the others along with them. So it's just a great way to help one another, and without even realizing it, you're getting a lot in return.
I love at many of the meetings where you stand up and say, okay, who has in need of a job or who needs something tonight, like why are you here, and to give people a mini platform to tap into that. And people have gotten jobs because of that. People have gotten referrals, whether it's decorating, needing branding, marketing. So there's a really neat element of not just like, oh, isn't it nice to be friends, but really, like you said, career aspirations and big needs sometimes with
Absolutely. It started out as a need that I had, selfishly motivated, as I like to say. But it really has become so much more than that, and I really want to give back to the group as much as I've received. So at every event that we have, whether it's an event that's purely a networking event, we do those fairly frequently, or it's actually something with a larger purpose, such as a workshop on imposter syndrome, which we held last week. I ask people to come with what I call their ask. So what is it that you want the group to help you achieve? Not everybody does it. Not everybody has anything in particular they're asking, or they may not feel comfortable expressing it to the larger group. But come with whatever it is. And I've seen people, like you said, get jobs. We helped found a nonprofit organization through this. I've helped women who are in the nonprofit industry connect with other women in the nonprofit industry to do some of their own networking within their own little mini group. So it runs the gamut of what people are needing and what kind of support and help they're looking for. But that's what we're all about. Whatever it is we can offer, we'll provide you.
How has kind of launching FierceFemales helped with your sales career? Because we're both sales executives.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's had an impact. Do you look for the younger women to help rise them up, or how has this impacted your lens of looking at work for both men and females?
Well, for one, the first thing that it had an immediate impact on was just giving me a deeper level of job satisfaction, because while I wasn't getting the type of input within my own workplace, I found it elsewhere, which helped ease the frustration I was feeling. So immediately my job satisfaction increased. So that's immediate. What else it's done for me is it's really personally helped me to listen to others. I've been in sales a long time. Listening is a really important skill. It's helped me hone that skill. It's helped me view things from different perspectives. I've gained insight into other industries that I wouldn't necessarily have otherwise had insight into. So it's really helped round me out as a professional.
Those were great answers.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was curious because I really organically wanted to know, because I've watched Fierce Females grow and change locally and also a little more outside of our local area of Soma.
Yeah.
And kind of what that looks like. When it comes to your job, where are you able to kind of express like your leadership? Because you've always had like a strong personality. I've always seen you as not being shy, which I guess that comes with the territory of being a sales exec also.
It certainly
does. You can't be a wallflower. But tell me a little bit about your background, and have you always like kind of been leaders and a leader in different organizations throughout school and stuff, or did you kind of surprise yourself that if you could talk to your 18-year-old self, would you be shocked that you launched something like this?
I would absolutely be shocked. I mean, I had leadership qualities in college, but in very different ways. If I look back at my early career as a new grad in New York City, I was definitely more of a kind of take a back seat to authority, listen to what others had to say. Now I find myself feeling, and this has developed over a couple of decades, but yes, I have more of that. Those innate qualities have been brought to the forefront, and I'm not as shy about that. And I also think that, when you gain confidence in yourself as an individual, that it allows you to bring out some of your natural talents and not feel shy about those. So particularly in my industry, where it is a male-dominated industry, and I can often not feel like the expert. That imposter syndrome workshop we mentioned last week, I was a big beneficiary of, because I often feel that because I'm not male, I'm not an engineer, I'm in a technology world, and I studied literature. But these qualities are really important in what I do for a living. And so I think that, no, I wasn't naturally at first in my career the one leading the charge, but over time I have continued to develop those skills, and I feel a lot more confident. I would love to help other people who are starting out in their careers develop that maybe a little sooner in their career than now, and help them understand that you don't have to be the expert in what you're doing. You just have to know who the experts are and bring them to the table.
And that's what I asked that for, because I'm hoping there are other young women watching, that they will be like, wow, these women are sales executives, they're moms, they're good in their careers, they're launching unique things like this and empowering women of all ages through this, which I think is really cool. And also, I'm raising daughters, and you're raising good husbands for future. It's all connected.
That's true.
But I think today, like this week, we have women that are on the moon for the first time.
Right.
And I read an article, and they said, I can't wait until we just say there are people on the moon, and these ones happen to be female, but it's not a big deal.
Right.
And I think as playing fields equalize, where it's just people doing good things as opposed to having to be a woman finally doing this, finally doing that. When are we going to have a female president? When will that be a norm like many other countries? Like there's so many, we've made so much progress, and yet there's still so much more progress to be made.
Exactly. And you touched on something maybe without realizing that I really want to mention, which is that Fierce Females is not about male bashing. That's
not at
the
all.
Last thing that we're about. I love men.
We love our good men.
I love the male managers I work for and my peers. I derive a lot of value out of our relationships. I'm raising 2 young men who will hopefully go out and support, equality in the workplace. Instead, what Fierce Females is about is just helping women to get to the point where this is no longer an issue. Gender and whatever gender you identify with is no longer an issue in the workplace, and instead we are all compensated and judged based on our skills and our talents and our accomplishments. That's really where we hope to go. We're not there yet, so in the meanwhile, we need places like Fierce Females to help to help us combat some of the things that we have, unconscious bias against our own gender, and combat that, and just bring out the best in all of us.
One thing that I have seen change a lot, I know when we first became moms, there was a lot of this, stay-at-home mom versus working mom, or I kept reading about that, and in our community and where we happen to live in the Maplewood, South Orange communities, I never felt that personally. I just realized when I became one, every mom's busting her butt to do the best she can, whether it's part-time working full at home, creating something, doing something part-time, full-time, leaving to go in the city from 7 to 7 because she's the primary breadwinner. Like, I saw everything, and I thought, we're all tired, we're all forgetting stuff, and we all want to raise good people. And it gave me so much more empathy of watching like women come running into the auditoriums to sit in their seat to see their kids perform and do their cello or whatever the heck they're up to these days. Of just how much we're trying to do so much, and to not drop any balls in the air. And that pressure of this day and age where I don't think our moms grew up with feeling that they had to be great at everything. They're like smoking their cigarette, go play,
Right.
It's just a very different kind of situation. Have you seen that kind of shift throughout your years as a mom, and just compared to when we were younger?
I would say I have seen some shift, and maybe it's because my kids aren't younger anymore, but when my children were younger, I think that mommy war thing was discussed more often. I think it was in the press more often. And at least for me, I know that there were some people I am close with who felt that on one side
Judged
of
one
the
way
coin
or the
other.
Yeah.
Right, whether they were at home or working, they felt that. I personally never did. I was just too tired to worry about it.
And I would read the horror stories and go, who's making someone feel like
I
this?
know, but I do think, I like to believe that it's not just because my children aren't young. I think that we have come further away from that discussion and evolved to issues that all moms, whether they're paid out of the home or not, are facing. And we're trying to help each other through those issues together.
Yeah, that's
I think we've evolved.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I think so too, because I want it to be changing for the new moms on the scene, and just not feeling that pressure of having to bake everything organic in this and these perfect lunches, and you see these articles and we're like, who has time for this? And then it's like having
and
a
lot
quality
of that
life,
I think is almost self-inflicted on some of us. I know I've always felt that way, and so a place like Fierce Females is another place for another venue, another avenue for moms who might be raising younger children to come and get a different perspective,
kind
and
of
hear
level
that,
set in a
and
different
hear
way.
that, and right. And there's actually a woman in our group who's quite accomplished, and she started this other group called Bad Housekeeper.
Oh yeah,
and it's a whole comedy routine, and she's hilarious she's fantastic, Amy Howlett, and she has made a comedy career out of giving herself license to just be a bad housekeeper.
I like her in the sink also doing the dishes while bathing. There's a lot of combinations.
I love everything she does. She's hilarious.
No, and you have to laugh at it all because it's a lot. So we're going to take a pause for a local commercial break, and then we will be back with Laurie Zlotnick, founder of Fierce Females. Hi, welcome back to the Career Corner. We're getting fierce today with my friend and founder of Fierce Females, Mrs. Laurie Zlotnick. How are you?
Hi, Heather.
So you have done a lot of interesting events over the past 3 years since your launch. I almost want to say our launch because I've been part of it since the first meeting, and it's so great. What are some of the events that you have put on?
We've done some great programming, and I can't take sole credit for this. This is every event we put on, I have help from women in the group. Sometimes the events are, the whole idea of the event is somebody else's. But we've done simple things like some networking. Our very first event was just a short networking event at one of the local watering holes where we just got together. I introduced myself and people introduced themselves to one another, etc. We've done other more specific programming around personal or career development. One you participated in, which was one of my favorite events. Which
I love that. Yeah, I got to speak. I love that one.
That was a great one, and that was branding yourself to compete in the millennial marketplace.
Yep.
We put that on with the specific idea of helping women who were either trying to move up in their career, in their current job, get a new role, whatever that was, or come into the workforce after having been out of work, stepped out for a while. What the millennial marketplace, how you compete in that marketplace looks like today, because it's certainly different than when I first started out of college some years ago.
Yes.
And it's definitely different from when my kids were born 16 years ago. There's a lot more about image and your look and feel and your whole social media
brand.
presence.
Yeah.
It's really a branding effort, which was not something that was even part of my vocabulary.
It wasn't on the radar.
Right. I'm not in marketing. That's not in advertising. But that's a very stark reality today. So we put the program on to help women, and that included a variety of different things, different topics. You were there to help women, coach them through some of the things they might go through in an interview process and how to prepare for that. We had women participating on just your look and feel, how to dress for this kind of workforce. Yeah. When we started back in the workforce, you wore suits with pantyhose. It's very different now. It's a lot more a casual workforce. Then we've done events where we start this one event, which is a personal favorite of mine also, helped raise a bunch of money to start a nonprofit whose mission is to help women who are undergoing chemotherapy and other cancer treatments with their wig styling, which is, unbeknownst to me, I've never had to go through it. Really, actually, something that can be time-consuming and difficult for women who have to wear wigs. So, Yoni Krager, who's a local salon, he owns the salon there, started this nonprofit. We held an event that was so fun at his salon. It was called his nonprofit's called Share Your Hair with Love, and we had stylists doing everyone's hair. We had a professional photographer come, taking people's headshots, and we had music and food, and it was really just a fun event to get people to help raise money. So there was
an awareness that they exist,
an awareness, and really supporting a local fierce female who was actually the catalyst for that nonprofit as she was undergoing chemotherapy herself. So that was something I'm particularly proud of. Then just last week, I mentioned this earlier, we held a workshop on, it was actually entitled Negative Self-Talk Rehab, Defeat That Imposter Syndrome and Fulfill Your Dreams Already. And it was a great evening of a workshop being led by two Fierce Females members, Lemore Elman and Amy McGlynn, who ran through with the attendees, what is imposter syndrome, what is negative self-talk, why do we do this, give us some examples. It was very interactive, and really we all walked away with some very specific tactics and tools we can use every day to help ourselves out of that. And just really defeat that. I mean, most studies show that probably like 90% of the population experiences imposter syndrome, and that's male and female, at some point. Women happen to experience it more frequently, and when women succeed, it's more likely attributed to some luck rather than their skill, versus men, when they succeed, it's really attributed to their talents and efforts. So there is some of this that is not completely our own negative self-talk, but we have to work ourselves out of that and combat that and kind of get rid of that wasted energy. So that was a really fun event, and we supported a local charity, Mend, which is a local nonprofit to support a network of 20 food pantries here in Essex County, and we raised over $500 for Mend through this event.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of that as well.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
Which is nice because it's really spreading the love in the finances where possible. And I know a lot of it is donation and then small fees to enjoy the events actually.
Yes.
That can go a
Yes.
long way when there's many, many hands and hearts.
Well, I
coming
really want to
together.
live the mission of women empowering women. So that doesn't just mean you helping me and me helping you. It also means helping our communities.
Yeah.
And so we look for
Yeah, our sisters really in need that we don't even know.
sisters in need that,
Yeah.
that we don't know, but again, when one of us rises, we all rise. So we often look for local charities or nonprofits that are close in our community that may have some sort of connection to women. For example, we raised money from an event earlier this year for the 28 Days Project. This is a local nonprofit that provides feminine hygiene products to a lot of different things like women's shelters,
income,
high
yeah.
schools, places, our own Columbia High School here in Maplewood, South Orange, that have a need for these products, but they're not well funded. And this is a problem for young girls and women, particularly if they're trying to get to school or trying to get to work and they don't have these products to help them through that.
Yeah, just to continue life normally.
Just to continue
Yeah.
life normally. So we fund it. We raised about $1,000 for 28 Days Project earlier this year. So yeah, we look to continue to do that and help women, help each other, and help our local communities.
So thinking like big picture, where would you like to see this go? Like, let's say, can we put on our 5-year hat
Yeah.
of, or even like 2-year hat? Like, what's a mini goal and what would be a big goal that you would be like, yes, this is what I visualized when I
Yeah.
launched this, or even like a who knew it could be, but what's something that would be on your love list for?
Well, this sounds maybe a little flip, but the truth is one of the biggest goals I have for this is for me to just keep doing it and loving it, not if it ever
Burnout
feels like a
or-
burden
yeah.
to me, I feel like that's a problem. So right now I'm I've got that in the back of my head. It hasn't been. It's still just a complete labor of love. In the immediate future, I'm looking to turn Fierce Females into a nonprofit organization so that we have nonprofit status that will help us with a lot of different logistics that we struggle with.
Because you have the name, right?
I don't have the name, actually.
you
I
gotta
was
get
not
the
able
name.
to
Okay.
copyright that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was not able to, but that's okay. We don't need to copyright it. We can still be a nonprofit.
Okay, good.
And so I want to get my nonprofit status so that we can keep doing the things we're doing and ease some of the logistical burdens in that process. For example, getting space can be very tricky.
Okay.
By having nonprofit status, I can get things like insurance at discounted rates and things of that nature, which will help with the events that we put on. So that's something. And then down the road, maybe we have chapters, and I've thought about having chapters in other cities that people locally can run and contribute locally to their. I know women in other cities that really aspire to, that are members in the organization. They can't come to the events, but they still participate in the conversation. I know they'd love to have this kind of programming
More
locally
locally
where
for
they
them.
are. Yeah.
So in our last minutes together, what are some do's and don'ts you've learned along the way that you could share? Because I have full faith that there's other young women watching,
Yeah.
middle-aged women watching, maybe more elder women watching. They're like, you know what, I've always wanted to launch a group for women to empower women, or my own niche of
Yeah.
something that's passionate to me. What are some lessons learned or anything that you could share?
Well, I think the first thing I would say is don't wait until the perfect moment, because that
Love that.
perfect moment won't ever
It never
come.
exists.
It doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
yeah.
And I had been thinking about this for months, to be honest, months before I started it. And I just felt like it wasn't the right time. I kept finding reasons why I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
And it probably would have helped me through a lot of things earlier if I had started it when I started thinking about it. Neither here nor there. At this point, that's water under the bridge. But I would say just go out and make it happen. The moment doesn't have to be perfect. your idea doesn't have to be perfect. It can grow and evolve just as your idea or as the years do, right? So I would say don't wait for that perfect something. Secondly, I would say be true to what you wanted with this idea. Don't let anybody distract you with their ideas. That's okay. Take that input, but always stay true and know what your North Star is, because it's very easy for, particularly when there's a large group and a lot of people have very well-intended ideas about what you could be doing. If for some reason your gut's not telling you that's the right thing, then for you and your mission, whatever that is, it's not the right thing. And that's okay. It might be disappointing even to you to realize that, because you might have thought that was a great idea, but for whatever reason you're struggling with it. Just stay true to what you think.
Your intention.
And your intention. And I think that will always take you down the right path. It's happened to me. I've gotten a little mixed up it's been 3 years now, with other people's ideas of what this group should be. But I'm remaining true now to me, and I'm always going to stay that way. It has to be authentically me, or I just will absolutely not enjoy what I'm doing any longer.
Well, it's really your baby too.
Yeah.
You know, it's your fierce female baby.
Yeah. And I think, whether you're an entrepreneur, you want to start a nonprofit, you're trying to find what your next career step is, think about that. What is your idea? Think about what's your baby. It's whatever gets inside you and keeps you glowing. Not just going, but keeps you glowing.
Yeah,
really.
glowing and growing and lights you up.
And so I love what I do professionally, but this lights me up in a different way. And I just want to always follow that light.
Well, it's such a beautiful example of taking a passion and a need, right? It started with a need, now it's become a joy. And it's kind of scratched that itch, from the corporate side of wanting more female, colleagues around, be able to tap into that brain trust, if you will.
Yes.
To really now you're helping fund other important causes, helping other women do their dreams. Like, it's really grown from this beautiful seed that you've watered and stayed true to. So I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm so happy to be part of it.
Oh, I've loved having you in the group, because I've known you for so long, so you're like a safe space for me. Which also, I just want everyone to know, Fierce Females is a safe space. That's one of the benefits of, if you're in the Facebook group, the secret group, it is a safe space for women to come and share stories or troubleshoot ideas.
And what is your website for people to find you?
Yes, it's www.FierceFemales.
It will be somewhere here.
.us. So that's all one word, FierceFemales.us. We have on our website fantastic swag you can purchase, like this.
We can be fierce.
We also have all of the events that we've had in the past. There are pictures and things of that nature. So go to our website.
Thank you so much for being my guest. And thank you all for joining into this episode of The Career Corner. See you soon.